Good to be here.
I don't doubt.
Happy to be here, just for that alone.
Dude, I like this couch. When you get the pillow behind you, it's nice. So
It is more of a lounge couch than an actively sitting talking about game couch, but lounge couch is pretty good. I can sit back the whole time. Although then I can't really see you all properly.
Unless we all sit like this.
Yes, that's a good plan. No Logic Gaming, 4 Clovers and a Leprechaun. Very important match. They have to face each other today in order to decide who gets the points. And the points are very important. And I want to just quickly, before we actually talk about the game itself, quickly look at the standings because it is very important for one reason and one reason alone. Now, No Logic Gaming still has in total 3 series to play, including 2 tomorrow and 1 today. While for 4 Clovers and a Leprechaun, this is their last series, if I'm correct. It is. And they are looking quite okay-ish, apart from the fact that they are on tie with Empire, and on paper, Empire has more 2-0s than them. Even though they won each other, it is Empire that comes out ahead, which means that 4 Clovers and Leprechaun need that extra point. Unless No Logic Gaming lose all their games, because they still can. And then that would also mean that, of course, 4 Clovers would win today, so that means that they would be doing well. But they kind of need to win.
If 4CL win at least one of their matches, they're guaranteed to be above NLG, pretty much, right?
Yes.
Okay, so if they win one game, it's like NLG are almost guaranteed bottom 2, unless they manage to get 8 losses, in which case it puts them even with Empire, right?
Yes.
And the head-to-head favored Empire, correct?
No Logic Gaming?
Oh, it was 1-1.
No,
okay,
that
so who had more 2-0s then?
Clovers.
Do you not remember Excalibur's mid windrunner?
Yeah, against Yoku, you're right. It was 1-1. So that means who has more 2-0s between it?
I can tell you because I looked it
NLG
all
don't
up.
have any 2-0s, do they?
I don't think so.
NLG has 1 2-0.
Oh.
Empire has 2.
Okay, so Empire would still force a no tiebreaker.
Yes, but No Logic Gaming have a chance to, if they win everything, to get 9 points total still, because they have so many games to play more. But you gotta imagine that tomorrow they're gonna face OG and Ninjas in Pajamas, so those are not the most easy opponents that you can think of.
Definitely tough.
Very tough. They need to win at least 3, if not 4 out of the 6 games. Let's put it that way. I think that's a fair way of calling it, to be safe. And other than that, it's no longer in their own hands. But I mean, this game is therefore very important because on paper this should be the easier opponents for them of the 3 that they still have left to face. So how do you feel this game is going to go?
We've seen No Logic in the past kind of snowball out of control if they get an early lead.
Yep.
We've seen them pick kind of cool stuff like Necrolite, Wisp, that kind of like dual, like Bane as well. They like these aggressive heroes. And when Excalibur plays well, Excalibur plays really, really well.
And when he's on his A game, it's kind of scary how good he is, especially on heroes like Wind Ranger. I'd say if he could consistently perform at that level, it might be like Weeha status, just ban it, you know? Because not a lot of teams are willing to respect ban right now unless the hero itself is really strong. And I think that Wind Ranger has fallen off a bit in terms of effectiveness the last week or two, especially around like Nanyang. Of course, they banned it because of Weeha, but there's not often that you see a player who's so good at a hero that you just, I'm hanging it out. So I think that NLG, they're using a new player, correct? Still? Madara, yeah.
Yes.
Old teammates, but I think that 4CL should have the edge here. I don't think it's that even. I think 4CL are actually just a better team.
How come?
Well,
because of the stability of the roster?
I think it's because of their style of play is similar to what NLG do, but I think they just do it better, honestly. Like NLG, they're very hit and miss. Of course, you could argue that a team with Bambo is also kind of volatile, but in the games that I've seen, 4CL can actually make really good things happen even in bleak situations where NLG just crumble when they're behind.
Yeah.
I don't really see them coming back. That's the problem.
I think 4 Clovers in general have a lot more experience as well on their roster than NLG does, so I would also favor 4 Clovers over NLG.
Okay, so if you know that you're No Logic Gaming, you know that you're not really maybe the winning team on paper. How do you go about dealing with 4 Clovers? Because if you have the same playstyle type as the one you're facing.
We've seen them play Meepo in the past, so maybe like last pick Meepo could could definitely be a thing. I've seen them lose with it once, and definitely they've won with it a few times as well. So that could be a definite pocket pick. I think the Bane, Necrolite, IO combination, just like the over-aggression and having that mid-game Reaper Sight just to kind of finish the game earlier, that could be huge as well. You know, stuff like that can kind of catch you off guard and allow you to break base.
Just stick to your strengths, basically.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a Husker pick as well. If you like last pick Husker against only magic damage lineups, stuff like that, that can really throw you off and like put you in an unwinnable situation, kind of.
How big of an emphasis would you put on having last pick? Because that seems to be an important thing.
Well, last pick is also first pick.
Yes.
So I think most teams actually prefer first pick. When they're asked for a cider pick, they usually have first pick instead. So I think that just goes to say that first pick is definitely good. Like, the first thing is you get to see more of what the enemy team want to do, even in the first two. Like, we even heard earlier from an interview, like seeing a support, for example, can tell you a lot about what the laning phase is going to be. When No-Tail was talking to us, he said, look, we took the CK out of the game, and then we just pick Doom and Tiny, and then we say, okay, if you don't take the Wisp, then we're also going to get it for ourselves. We already have good lanes, and it forces you into this really awkward spot where you have to find another way to make your lane still work for you. And it makes the enemy team really off their footing from the get-go. So I think first pick is incredibly strong right now.
First pick strong, last pick strong. Other than the Husker and the Meepo, any other heroes you're looking forward to seeing coming out for No Logic Gaming? The Wind Ranger, of course.
Tiny. They played that
IO
against... I'm trying to... Oh, I can't remember, but I remember it being extremely dominant. Like, I'm not 100% sure.
I don't know who they played against either, honestly.
Okay, but it was like, they played it amazingly. It was against a Rise's team.
Which
MFF.
is MFF.
Wasn't he playing Bristleback?
Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right. They killed him like 3 times mid. Yeah, I remember that game. You are right.
And they just completely ran over the game with that combination. So there is a few kind of like combos they can do that can definitely work for them.
So for No Logic Gaming, it's important to throw their enemies off their game to maybe have a slight twist at the end of their draft, perhaps as well. For 4Clovers and a Leprechaun, we just saw them, of course, already having a series where they were able to take one game. Unfortunately for them, not the other one as well. But in that first game, the one that they ended up winning, they did end up being a bit shaky in terms of throwing away leads that they had. What do they have to look out for when facing No Logic Gaming? Because they can't be complacent.
When I actually saw, I looked up some stats on No Logic Gaming because we haven't seen them in a while and I was trying to figure it out. Tusk is like huge for them. I think they've played it like 14 times and they've like a 75% win rate on it.
Okay, that's pretty high.
So like that's kind of the hero. And I know 4Clovers won their first game with Tusk as well. And I think that in these kind of aggressive games where the game is being decided in the first 20 minutes, just having that like snowball.
But that's like every team in the scene right now. With the Tusk stats, like 14 games, 75% win.
Yeah, exactly.
Like so first pick, whatever.
So ban Tusk.
Or pick it, try and get it.
Yeah, it's kind of first pick or first ban.
I think it's very dependent on the team itself, too.
Yeah,
like, what is their comfort zone? Are they okay playing against Tusk? You see a lot of Dazzle, for example. You see a lot of, like, Earthshaker now that Tusk is very prevalent. You see these defensively postured heroes that don't have to really focus on their early game rotations to be successful. And if Tusk doesn't get rotation sometimes, a team can be built around just being like, all right, Death Ball. And then Tusk is kind of mediocre at best. He doesn't do a ton of damage. If you don't get any pressure in the lane, then you're kind of not really offering really that much to the team, I feel. So it just depends on what the captain has in mind for the game itself and what team you are and how you feel like, do we Death Ball? Do we go for pick and push? You know, just whatever style you want to take.
Okay, because we saw, of course, Saxa's Tusk yesterday, which was pretty impressive as well.
Yeah.
So I think for Clovers and the Leprechaun, they'll try to grab it themselves, unless perhaps first pick, the temptation of letting it go through. I mean, it will probably get picked up by the other team in terms of first pick. Which other heroes would we expect to see banned here for the teams, apart from Doom?
Wisp and Doom.
Darks here.
We have a lot of
Dazzle.
Darks here banned. Is Dazzle in high contention for this team as it is for Monkey Freedom Fighters?
I think everyone is valuing pretty high now.
Yeah?
Yeah. Dazzle's it sets your team up very well because it's an easy hero to run. That's the thing about it that makes it so strong. You're always defensively positioned, so you're always in a good spot. You have good sustain, so you can help your team push. Weave is ridiculous in team fights. And as long as you get a Grave on a high priority target, you've done your job. It's easy to execute, it's effective, and it lets you push.
And he's even pretty good in lane. Like,
yeah, that's true as well. He's got decent base damage. You can be bullied sometimes. I feel like he kind of suffers from the Disruptor syndrome, where if he gets a couple of levels, he's fine. But like 1 to 3, he can be abused.
yeah, kind of.
He often does get an early teleport, so he can help out lanes that are getting bullied. So he can get those extra levels from it if he makes sure that the situation gets turned around on the on the enemy team. We are soon going to be going into the draft, of course, of this first game of the series. But before we do, just want to quickly point out that you can still go to facebook.com/ROGNordic, where you can fill in what you think is the most valuable hero of this week's league play, and then you can win an ASUS ZenPad S8. You, of course, also have to put in your motivation with that as well. And then tomorrow evening, it will actually be Ape Mother who will decide which hero was, according to him, the most influential hero of this week's league play. And if your hero coincides with his hero and your motivation does the same with his motivation, then you have a chance of winning the ASUS ZenPad S8. So get into his mind. Get to know what he's thinking. What is he thinking? Andy, if we're not asking Ape Mother right now, what is your most influential hero of this week league play and why?
I would actually just say Dazzle. I think that he probably, I don't know if he has the highest win rate, but he's definitely won a lot of games. And I think the way that you build around the hero is just so many things you can do. Just the hero in general offers very easy laning phase for a lot of mids, because I see him pretty often on Radiant. I think there's also something to be said for that. But whenever he's on Radiant, he just seems to be just winning every single game.
What do you think, Shane?
For me, it's Undying, actually. He's quite similar to Dazzle, but it allows you to kind of team fight more early.
Oh, you know what? I should have said Brew. Damn it.
Brew?
Brew?
Yeah, but only for OG. Everyone else is
to be honest, Undying also. OG plays Undying a lot. But I mean, we've seen a lot of OG this week. We're going to see them more tomorrow as well, by the way. And we're not asking Ape Mother's opinion yet because we only want to hear that tomorrow because he don't want to spoil anything. And he's also not bribable, people. Just, you know, just so you're aware.
At least not by the people at home. Maybe us.
Who knows?
Who knows? It is time for us to go into the draft. No Logic Gaming will face 4 Clovers and a Leprechaun. And we see the familiar faces removed from the game with the Shadow Fiend, Darkseer, as well as the Doom being banned out.
IO.
And IO makes it through. Tusk gets banned out. So let's see. There we go. IO picked up.
Is this a trap by 4CL though?
Radiant team
Are they going to like pick Tiny and Doom?
Are they going to do the OG strat? They can't pick Doom, but they get pick Tiny. Yeah.
They can go Tiny CK. Insane combo, man. I think Dazzle is good. Or
well, they're taking their time. Almost like they weren't expecting that they were gonna let IO through.
Maybe they're like, uh-oh.
damn!
I knew for us for getting a hero here.
Remaining.
I mean, the problem is you can't really pick a disruptor or anything this early, right? You have to pick something that has decent laning potential. You have to leave yourself open to change around your lanes if need be. Because the only thing that you have a good idea of is that you're going to see the Wisp probably mid with whatever hero he's going to have.
That's true.
Yeah, maybe just go for a Spirit Breaker or something like that. That is like globally very good.
Yeah.
Slaughter,
okay, so 2 pretty beefy heroes.
It's a Tiny Slaughter combo, man.
Yeah.
Who needs a Blink Dagger when you can get tossed in?
Yep.
I still think CK is very good against these cores. I wouldn't be surprised to see 4CL ban it in the second phase. NLG just gonna go with the Queen, so a stable laner.
Radiant team back.
They favorite the Bane as well. Like, it's very good against Tiny. And you can just like enfeeble and sleep him, leave him alone.
Now 4CL can take the Bane away from them too.
Yeah.
Because Bane is very good against these dual cores, and it's also good for laning.
I have a feeling it's the Necro pick for No Logic Gaming.
So they should ban the A now?
Yeah.
10
And Dazzle's actually been ignored as well.
Yeah, surprisingly.
I don't think you can ban A if you're an NLG, because then you could just open up free Dazzle for 4CL, and they would be more than happy to take that.
That's true.
I don't think that A is a huge counter to Dazzle.
It's more just like...
It's so.
It's active deep push. I think that's the biggest thing. It's not about necessarily taking the fight as much as it is trying to get them off your side of the map for a little while, like get some breathing room. I mean, of course, there is always Wombo combo. Like we tried to see Nip run a little bit earlier, but...
They banned out the Sven, so maybe they were going for more minus armor. Like, so the Dazzle is definitely on their minds, maybe. Because I don't think Sven is particularly good against Tiny.
No, but Sven is, of course, picked up when you want to get extra armor on your team, so perhaps they are still planning for the Dazzle as well as...
CK looks so good right now for NLG. They banned Lich and Shaker in the second phase. Like, if that doesn't scream CK pick, I don't know what was, or what will.
But it seems like 4 Clovers is okay with letting
I mean, they can go Gyro too, I guess. But then you're kind of lacking the single target damage. You could go for like the Wombo combo team fight though. That's always a possibility.
If you get Gyro, he's just gonna be like amplified and jumped and it's kind of dead.
But if you go like Wyvern after, I think it's fine.
It's a Wyvern as well.
Disruptor, okay.
We saw Vega pick this combo, the IO Disruptor.
This is very punishable though.
Yeah,
you have to look at the IO and the Disruptor and think to yourself, we haven't seen a single support coming out from 4CL. The only thing that we know is going to be offlane Slardar most likely. So you can go back for like a Spirit Breaker if you want to just go like full on ham. You can even pick on Dying at this stage and just go for like some kind of early death ball. But
Yeah, the game I was talking about was the game they lost in 17 minutes.
yeah.
10 seconds remaining.
This, like, when you see Wisp, I don't know if I really like
5
picking the support this
seconds
early,
remaining.
just because it gives away that your supports are weak. Like,
Yeah.
they're fragile, they can be abused.
Reserve time.
And now I think NLG needs something like a CK or a Gyro just to secure the early game. Otherwise, you're going to get ran at by 4CL's lineup. And if you don't have a stable early game, your Disruptor has a late level 6 timing, it's going to be really hard for you to fight into
Dire
that.
team
But
pick.
even if you have a CK, and they go like a duel on dying or whatever against your lane with,
It's still hard.
yeah.
Yeah.
Because Disruptor and Wisp is not strong at low levels.
And they don't
Yeah,
have a lot of
exactly.
disables either. Just very. Oh, you know that No
The
Logic
core
Gaming
Bane.
did this. They
Okay.
had Mitch on the Bane safe lane with an aggressive tri lane coming out. So if you're gonna have an IO Disruptor +1 aggressive tri lane, which hero would you prefer to see in that one?
Well, you want a range farming hero for sure, I feel,
Mhm.
right?
because
They're
you don't want
Dire
to fight
team
against the
back.
tiny, the craggy.
Well, it's more because you want the laning phase to actually go very, very much in your favor. Because Tiny doesn't really need anything more than levels for the burst combo. And if he gets a couple of kills mid-game, he'll just get his blink. You know, you're not really going to hold him down for that long.
10 seconds
And Slardar
remaining.
is also pretty easy pickings mid-game, I think, if your Disruptor and Bane have a
5
good start.
seconds remaining.
And they will ban the Undying here from 4CL.
Radiant team
I think
pick.
Ursa could actually be a decent pick against 4CL.
Against
He's gonna
4CL?
get kind of
Against Tiny?
No, not so much. Like it's.
I mean,
you just
Wind
get
Ranger
early
can
BKB.
win run. Tiny has Craggy.
You can still toss him away.
Yeah.
But I'm trying to think what can deal with the amount of like
I think
physical
Gyro
damage.
is the pick, honestly. I think it's
Gyro?
because they go aggro with it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. Gyro is the way to go.
Doesn't just get like focus fire. It's difficult.
Gyro?
They've so much like.
10
I mean, the thing
seconds
is,
Physical
if you're
remaining.
thinking only towards mid-game, I agree.
Mhm.
Because AMP and stun toss
5
combos are
seconds
kind of scary.
remaining.
But how are you going to get that combo off with Bane Disruptor? Like, something is going to happen to you
Reserve
in that
time.
time, I feel, if the supports are in a proper position and you're taking like these 5-man centric engagements.
How do you feel about for No Logic Gaming a Viper on the offlane?
I don't
Viper's
like.
You
good against
need
Tiny.
some carry potential. Like you need something that has some oomph.
Yeah, and your team doesn't really push towers that well either on NLG.
But
so
if you're picking a Bane safe lane, doesn't that kind of mean that you're kind of foregoing on the late game kind of altogether?
Well, it could just be that they do 2-1-2.
Yeah.
And like you said, they do Bane, and then they do the Wisp, and then they just have Disruptor with Gyro top, and I think that's also okay.
Mhm.
Because
Okay.
Bane IO is actually very difficult to kill for just a Dazzle support and a Tiny. I think that lane would be heavily contested. Oh, the denial. They take the
Dire
Gyro
team
away from
pick.
NLG. What is the choice now?
Is it Windranger or Slaughter going to be a support, you think?
Slardar, probably.
Okay.
There's a Slark. It's not.
That's like such a panic pick, I feel. I think
What else is there though?
well, they're going to go
I
with
think
it, man. I don't know. That seems really...
I think it's good.
It's good
It's
Gyro.
like
I-
one of the best carries you can
I
pick
think
here.
against the tiny as
It's
well.
good mid-game, but it's not good in lane.
It's good late game.
It's
Like-
very good late game, that is true.
Yeah,
but
lane
what
is
if they
the
punish you for
weakness.
this? Like,
How? They have
I think Gyro Dazzle, or even just like any heroes in your lane against Slark, you can test, because Slark is such a bad laner. Like,
With
he's-
the IO though, he has such sustain.
If they go like Gyro Dazzle, don't you just go defensive try?
Gentlemen, it's time.
I suppose you could.
Who's going to win now that you see the draft?
I think 4CL's lineup will win.
Shane?
I'll let everyone go first.
Hmm.
You're
I-
going to bandwagon so hard.
No,
I
I'm
feel
not.
it.
No.
If I have to choose, I think 4 Clovers. Because of what I said with the experience before and all that. And the draft, so. 4
I think
Clovers.
4 Clover is going to win, but I'm going to go with No Logic Gaming.
Devil's
Because no
advocate.
logic or what?
Boom!
Got him.
Wow.
Their draft makes no logic. They actually won with Bane safe lane farming that
Yeah,
game,
they
but
did.
they run the Bane as a core. We're going to find out who is actually going to take this first game of the series. It is time for our commentators to take over. Odie Pixel and Lumi, take it away.